What is going on, guys? It is WrestleMania here, back with another video. Just before we get into the video, don't forget to like or dislike the video, subscribe, turn on notifications, and leave a comment down below. Extreme Championship Wrestling may have only lasted 9 years, but left a huge impression on the wrestling world. Not only changing the landscape of hardcore wrestling, but giving the WWF a number of superstars including Steve Austin, Mick Foley, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, and Chris Jericho, who all appeared in ECW at one point. However, there were some wrestlers which only made a brief or one-off appearance in ECW, most who had already made their mark on the much bigger WWF. Some appeared at the early stages of ECW when it was known to be Eastern Championship Wrestling, and some made appearances during its peak, but all of these entries went unpublicized. So, here are 10 WWE wrestlers you didn't know wrestled in ECW. Number 1. The Bushwhackers. Although the Bushwhackers were mostly used as enhancement talent in the WWF, they were one of the most over babyface tag team in the WWF at the time. Fans would remember them licking heads and swinging their arms up and down as they made their way down to the ring, but with all this playfulness, they had a violent past, competing as the Kiwi Sheep Herders in Calgary Stampede Wrestling and NWA Pacific Northwest. The duo was wrestling with barbed wire before barbed wire was even cool. After a substantial run in the WWF, the team made special appearances, including one in April 1998 when the duo appeared in ECW as Luke and Butch Dudley, cousins of the Dudley brothers. The pair faced the Sandman and Tommy Dreamer, but it just turned into a schmoz as the entire Dudley stable gave a beatdown to the two. Number 2. Scott Hall. Now, we aren't talking Scott Hall before he became the bad guy Razor Ramon. This was post-NWO Scott Hall, who made a rare appearance in ECW. Hall hadn't exactly been utilized well at the end of his WCW career, and before his release, Hall hadn't even wrestled on TV for 7 months. Hall made 2 non-televised appearances in ECW, first appearing on the 10th November 2000, teaming with Jerry Lynn, defeating Just Incredible and Rhino. The second was on the 11th November 2000 at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center. Still in outsider gear, Hall came out to Ready or Not by the Fugees with a huge pop from the crowd. Hall faced off against Big Sal of the Full-Blooded Italians and lost, putting over the big man. Hall even made another appearance that night, facing Just Incredible in the main event. Fun fact, Hall and Nash also came out to the same music 4 years later when they wrestled in Japan for promotion Hustle. Number 3. Doink the Clown. Terrifying clowns seem to be all the rage in recent years, but Matt Bourne played a terrifying clown before it was cool. Bourne started off in the WWF as an evil clown playing tricks on hapless WWF superstars. Despite getting over as a heel, he was fired from the WWF in 1993 after continued drug abuse violations. Following his departure, Bourne wrestled a handful of matches in ECW. A clown, however, in ECW was not what the fans had in mind, but he used the gimmick to get heat and transform his gimmick to become Bourne again, painting one half of his face with the clown makeup. When Bourne defeated an opponent, he would dress him up as his Doink persona. His tenure in the company didn't last long, and Bourne was gone from ECW the same year. Number 4. Sid. During the 90s, Sid bounced back and forth between the WWF and WCW more times than a game of Sonic Spinball. He was, however, a big player in wrestling, and was massively over when making his short appearances in ECW. ECW knew what to do with Sid. They didn't make him talk, just come in, clean house, and leave. The Master and Ruler of the World made his debut at 1999's Guilty as Charged pay-per-view, wrestling and squashing John Kronos in a matter of minutes by giving him a chokeslam over the top rope onto a table. Sid departed shortly after, unsurprisingly due to monetary complaints. Number 5. Don Muraco. Two-time WWF Intercontinental Champion and Hall of Famer, appeared in ECW during its formative years, when it was known to be Eastern Championship Wrestling. In only his second appearance in the promotion, he defeated his longtime adversary, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, to win the NWA Eastern Championship Wrestling title. He would go on to forming a one-off tag team with Snuka, defeating the Public Enemy in October 1993 at ECW's Bloodfest. Number 6. King Kong Bundy. Much like Muraco, King Kong Bundy made a handful of appearances roughly at the same time. Bundy was massively popular in the WWF, headlining WrestleMania 2 with Hulk Hogan. However, as Bundy chose to concentrate on acting and comedy, his wrestling career steadily declined. He tried to get it back on track during the mid-90s by appearing at ECW. Bundy made his appearance at ECW's November to Remember pay-per-view, teaming with Terry Funk as a mystery guest partner. Whilst it's thought that Bundy only made a one-off appearance, he wrestled a few matches at ECW's Hamburg show in 1994, wrestling under the name Chris Kanyon. No, not Canyon with a K, mostly in losing efforts. Number 7. Jake the Snake Roberts. Jake Roberts was one of the biggest stars in the WWF, but unfortunately his drug addiction had got the better of him in the early 90s, making some bad decisions, including holding up Vince for his departure and his lackluster time in WCW. Once Roberts had departed WCW in 1992, he made his first, albeit brief, appearance in ECW on the 14th of November 1993, defeating Mr. Hughes. Roberts then made his second appearance in 1997. He appeared towards the end of the Tommy Dreamer and Lawler match. The lights went off momentarily, and when they came back on, Roberts appeared in the ring. He clotheslined Dreamer and shouted, "Your God giveth and he can taketh away. My God he giveth, but he ain't got the balls to do nothing else," and then proceeded to clothesline Jerry Lawler. He wrestled a 6-man tag match at ECW's WrestleFest, losing to Hayabusa, Jinsei Shinzaki, and Masato Tanaka. His final appearance was at ECW's November to Remember 1998 pay-per-view, where he teamed up with Dreamer to take on Jack Victory and Just Incredible. Number 8. Road Warrior Hawk. One half of probably the most over tag team in pro wrestling, the Road Warriors. Donning the team's famous spiked shoulder pads and face paint, in 1993 Hawk challenged ECW television champion Jimmy Snuka, but only won via DQ. He teamed up with Sabu at 1993's ECW November to Remember pay-per-view, facing the aforementioned team of Bundy and Terry Funk. He continued to appear throughout 1994, wrestling the likes of Mr. Hughes, Pitbull No. 1, and even defeating Shane Douglas for the ECW World Heavyweight title, but only via DQ. Number 9. Jim Neidhart. One half of another popular tag team duo, Jim Neidhart appeared in ECW for a brief period in 1992 and 1995. He made his one and only pay-per-view appearance at 1993's November to Remember, wrestling the Sandman. In 1995, he even wrestled the also elusive Marty Jannetty. And number 10. The British Bulldog. Apart from this short footage that appears on the ECW original opening, there is no other known footage or photos of Davey Boy Smith's appearance in ECW. But it did happen, with Davey Boy wrestling only 2 matches in Eastern Championship Wrestling in late 1992 and early 1993. Well guys, there you have it. 10 WWE wrestlers you didn't know wrestled in ECW. Were there any more that we missed out? Let us know in the comments down below. And I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.